Thank you, thank you, thank you. Good afternoon. So 10 minutes to talk about a topic that we all are pretty passionate about, which is culture. And so I'm going to start, and I'm glad I have my notes, and my colleague have notes as well. I'm going to start the presentation with a little story. So back in September, as I was entering the beautiful setting of Bar Harbor to attend the 60th dinner award for VBSR, I ran into Jen, and Jen said, "Hey, did you read my email?" I'm like, "Oh gosh, here is another email that I missed." I think she could have picked my expression and said, "Well, I'm going to make it quick. I would like you to come and talk at our next VBSR Fall Conference and talk about company culture." My first reaction, typical Adeline, is like, "Yeah, sure, I would do that." Yeah. As I settled into the evening, I realized, oh my God, what did I just set myself to do? VBSRTalk, culture, and then I said it's TED Talk style. Oh gosh, I really started to get nervous. I just settled into the evening. I'm sitting next to Adeline Druart, co-founder of Vermont Creamery. And her and I are watching Beth Sachs receiving the Terry Heritage Award. And Beth delivered an amazing speech. And as I'm sitting and listening to her, she said something that struck me, that I paid really attention close to the point that I had to steal my neighbor's pen and menu to write it down. But Beth said that culture is a manifestation of values. And what I want to do is spend the next 9.5 minutes to unpack this a little bit with you guys. So, what is culture? I don't think the people in this room needs to get too much into let's define culture. I think we all know what that is. But for my own curiosity, I went on Google and started searching culture and different keywords around culture. And I found a lot of stuff, a lot of interesting stuff, and a lot of crazy. The best one was from the website WikiHow that had basically an article on the 10 steps to build a company culture. That was next to how to tell that your dog is depressed, how to fix a broken toilet, and the best one is how to make an Oreo hot chocolate. Yes, we get it. Company and culture is on trend, is buzzworthy, but really, why? Why does culture matter? Well, culture matters because as businesses, we are only as good as the people that we surround ourselves. And when you think of businesses, we are all involved in a business to do good, to use the power of business to impact positive change in our society. We know that in order also for us to be successful, we have to be profitable. Yep. And we also know that we can't do it alone. We need people. Last but not least, if you blend strategy with process and people, start stirring all this together, it better stick. It better become interdependent so we can, as business leaders, deliver on our purpose, on our mission and aspirations. Another important factor is that culture is the thread that holds it together. I mentioned this glue that blends strategy, process, and people. And so you don't get to build a culture in following in 10 steps. What you do is you basically walk the walk, do the thing day in and day out, and at some point, by following your values, you're going to build a culture. The culture is going to emerge by itself. Bob Rees and Adeline Druart co-founded Vermont Creamery in 1984. They were both two entrepreneurs that came together with each $1,200 in their pocket and said, we're going to start a business. I joined 15 years ago as a cheesemaker intern, and I got to say, when I came in an organization, we didn't have our values, we didn't have our mission, our working norms on the wall. Culture and values were a living thing. You could feel it, you could see it in every day, how we worked, how we got to address issues, so on and so forth. It was a living thing that was very important and very apparent in our business. So I'm a practical person, and I want to make sure you get some takeaways from this 9.5-minute speech. So here is a couple values that were passed on from Alison Hooper onto me and the management team over the years. And I want to elaborate on some of them so we can have a good conversation here. So the first one is collaboration. Collaboration, this is a big thing for us. This is how basically Vermont Creamery was established. Two entrepreneurs coming together and starting a business. They both brought different values, different beliefs, and set of skills. And collaboration is how we basically are building buy-ins in our company, how we address issues, how we come together to fix problems, and also how we build relationships among ourselves and among others, such as our customer, our farmers, and so on and so forth. Collaboration is very deep into how we basically exist and how departments communicate together. With collaboration must come transparency. And we take transparency so seriously that 6 years ago we became open book managed company, which is very core to how we perform. We basically opened the whole finances of the organization to the employee to empower them and make sure they can think like owners. Collaboration, transparency, the next one is empowerment. Yeah, open book management also allow you to make sure that you walk the walk and talk the talk. So empowerment is basically allowing your staff to have their own path within the organization. It's one thing to make sure you have the right people in the bus. We all been to the School of Business, but now, today, it's even more important that you create a path for those employees, for them to have their own journey, and basically turn your staff into people, employees, to culture champion. And by empowering them, they really represent, they became the voice of the Vermont Creamery culture and your own culture. The last one is innovation. Again, back to how we started. We started with basically bring product to the market that people don't know they're going to love it yet. But at Vermont Creamery, innovation is not where with the finished product, it's not where we end. Innovation is actually how we start in changing constantly the way we approach businesses. From open book management to B Corp certification, we always are focusing on finding better and new ways. And so as I wrap up this 60 seconds that I have left, I want to make sure that I give you two things. Company culture is a living thing. It evolves over time, and you need to embrace that. But it starts with value, and then those values gives you a culture. It doesn't start the other way around. And company culture is fragile. And as we embark through change, we need to make sure that we nurture our culture as business leader. We also need to make sure that as we grow our workforce, we are more intentional about talking about those values, making it part of our onboarding process so we preserve it and enhance it. We've been so fortunate to have two incredible founders at Vermont Creamery that use their core value to build a culture. Our job as the next generation of leaders in businesses is to make sure we enhance our vision, enhance our culture, and share those values with a fast-growing workforce that is more and more engaged every day. We must be intentional every day of walking the walk, talking the talk, not because it's part of a strategy or a process, but we know because it's the right thing to do. Thank you.